Hello everyone and welcome back to a new video. We are nearing the end of 2025. I do not know where this year has gone. It's just passed by so fast and I feel that way every year, but this one has just swooshed by. And also things that have happened this year I feel happened years ago. So I'm having a bit of a rough time. Even so, we're nearing the end of the year, we're nearing the start of a new year, and if you're anything like me, you might be having some thoughts about your wardrobe moving into 2026. You may be feeling like you didn't experiment as much as you wanted this year, maybe you feel like you shopped too much, maybe you feel like you don't know what your style is, any of those sorts of things, and maybe you're making plans for 2026. Now I know that capsule wardrobes, for example, have been all the rage for the past few years, on and off, and I did capsules back in 2022. I'll have my playlist linked up here for you. And that can be kind of challenging for some people, but it can also be kind of freeing to have fewer choices to make in the morning or whenever it is that you do get dressed. Perhaps you're on the journey to try out capsules in 2026. Perhaps you want to shop less. Perhaps you want to use more of what you have or define your style or anything like that. Maybe you just want to play around with your wardrobe and have fun. And I have been thinking about how to do a wardrobe refresh without shopping, if that is something that you want to do. I myself am still planning out my goals for 2026. I will make a video on that coming up. But here are some ideas that I've had that, regardless of what sort of overarching goal you have for your wardrobe, these can be fun to try out on and off. Or when you feel like you're in a slump, regardless of if you're doing any sort of overarching goals or not, just if you feel like you're in a slump and you're like, I want to do something new, but perhaps the new you want to do is not adding new pieces. So my first tip is actually the capsules that I mentioned before. So like I mentioned, back in 2022, I did Project 333 4 times over. So for Project 333, you pick 33 items that you wear exclusively for 3 months. And I did that 4 times over because 3 times 4 is 12. There are 12 months in a year. And overall, I really enjoyed this. My biggest challenge was that when the 3 months were over was not necessarily when the seasons were changing. So I did my capsules January through March, April through June, July through September, and then October through December. And sometimes the seasons just weren't changing. Like October could be really warm, December could be really cold, for example, but the weather in March is also not the same as the weather in January, and that just kept happening. And since I started January 1st and I was doing 3-month intervals, that was what I had to go off of. And so several, if not all of my capsules really had to work for a lot of different weathers and temperatures and all that. And it was a challenge, and while challenges are fun, sometimes that was a little bit too challenging. I did also put together a capsule wardrobe for when my husband and I went to Japan earlier this year in 2025. I had a 15-piece wardrobe that I used for 30 days. 32 days, including the travel to and from and like time zones and stuff, but 15 pieces in 30 days. I had a really fun wardrobe for that. I feel like it was very me, and there were pieces that were bright and colorful and went really well together. Did I wear all of them equally? No, there's a video on that up here as well. But just like I did with my capsules back in 2022, it was really important for me that the capsules felt very me, and that means color, that means pattern, that means brightness. My capsule for Japan wasn't very patterned, I'll give it that, but it was colorful. And yes, I had some white pieces in there. I had a white jacket and a white cardigan and a white button down because I do like white. I do like white button downs especially. But I really liked that capsule. It worked really well for the weather and where we were and what we were doing, while also being very me and colorful and bright. And I've now done that short of a capsule. I mean, a month is still not very short, but I've done a month-long capsule, and I've also done 4 3-month-long capsules. There's also the 10 by 10 challenge, for example, where you pick 10 pieces and you use those for 10 days to make 10 outfits, which is also really fun and a shorter type of challenge. And I just really like capsules. And I do want to point out that it is very privileged to be able to make capsules. Some people don't have enough items to set items aside. They already have a capsule, either by choice or by necessity. I am privileged enough to have a large wardrobe. I have a lot of options to choose from. I've had the resources and the space and all of that to curate, acquire these clothes, and I'm very happy with that, but I just want to make that caveat. And getting back to the actual first suggestions of making capsules, you could also, if you have the space to do so and the amount of items, set things aside, either seasonally so you don't see your off-season things and so they feel fun and new and fresh when you bring them back in as the seasons are changing, or set things aside because they don't fit, or because you don't like them right now, or you don't have something to pair them with, or whatever it may be. Setting them aside for a bit so you don't see them, either because you don't like them and they don't work for you and they're just taking up visual space and physical space as you see them every day, or set them aside to bring them back out later and make them more exciting and fun. Either or is a great option. Next up, I want to touch on clothing swaps. I have a few, I guess, hand-me-downs, a couple from my mother that didn't fit her anymore. I have at least one thing from Teresa that she wanted to get rid of that suited me and my style. And those aren't really swaps because I haven't given anything in return. But the Swedish Society for Nature Conservation, Naturskyddsföreningen, I've spoken about them before, they do annual clothing swaps, usually in April, and I haven't been able to attend any of them. There have been like other things in my schedule, or I just haven't been able to go for whatever reason, but I'm really hoping to in 2026. And usually how these work is that you bring a certain amount of items. Sometimes it's limited to 5 or 10. Sometimes you can bring however many you want, and you get tickets in return for those items. And then you can swap those tickets for new clothing items. And usually I believe that whatever doesn't get picked from the swap is then donated to people in need or to thrift stores or something like that. And I think that is great. Again, I have not yet attended one, but I do really like the idea of it, and I do really want to do it more. And I think a clothing swap like that is really good because there's a lot of people, there's a lot of different styles, different sizes, different everything like that. And it's easier, I believe, not having been, finding things that you like and that fit you, compared to if you're 3 people and all your styles are different and all your sizes are different. I'm really hoping to go to the one in April. I'd gladly go to even more than that, but that is something that I am looking into doing in 2026. And I know also that some of them somewhat locally to me, I think all the ones that the Swedish Society for Nature Conservation, so long in English, I say it every time, but it's so long in English, they also don't allow clothes from like Shein and Temu to make it more sustainable, to not spread those kinds of clothes and those kinds of toxins in like during their event. Next, I want to talk about style challenges, and yes, I did touch on that a little bit when I talked about the capsule wardrobes, which in and of itself is a style challenge, I guess. So is the 10 by 10, but either finding a style challenge that someone else is hosting. For example, Kathleen Illustrated did one a couple years ago that I participated in. I know that Lauren from How She Styles did one recently and have done 1 or 2, I think, in the past, and other people probably as well. You can probably search for them on Google or Instagram or Pinterest and find them as well, or setting up one for yourself. And it could be around a specific theme, a specific color, or a specific item that you want to use more. I want to style this button down or this type of item. I want to style my culottes in as many ways as I can, either for a set amount of time, like a week or a month, or just playing around in your wardrobe by yourself or with a friend, and perhaps tracking or like writing down, taking pictures of the combinations that you really like, so that you have that sort of arsenal moving forward, that you can wear those pieces and those combinations later on. And going hand in hand in this, I have an idea for next year that is not finalized. I might mention it again when I upload the video of my plans, my wardrobe goals for 2026, once those are finalized and that video is made and going up. But I really like the idea of doing like a monthly focus. It doesn't have to be monthly, it could be weekly, it could be for the whole year, each quarter, whatever you want. But I really like the idea of a monthly focus. And that is a form of style challenge. I like a monthly focus that was focused around a specific color or a specific item or type of item. I want to make as many combinations as I can with my skirt. Skirts plural, or a specific skirt. Or I want to dress in this aesthetic, or whatever it is. And primarily I'm thinking that out of my own wardrobe and not going out to get cottagecore things to put into my wardrobe to do that challenge. I don't think I'm not thrifting next year. I do want to thrift next year, and if I do, when I get pieces throughout the year or during that challenge that works for it, challenge focus, then great, that's fine. But I don't want to get a whole new wardrobe to suit a challenge that I want to do. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. I don't feel like we should go out and buy whole new wardrobes to fit a challenge. That does not vibe with me. You could also play around with apps and dice and randomizers. You could pick out 6 of your shirts and roll a dice, and whichever assigned number it rolls you have to wear and pair and, you know, put an outfit together with. Or also, perhaps if you're into D&D, get multi-sided dice and then you can pick 20 of your shirts and roll a d20. That also works. I think that could be really fun. There are also other randomizing things that you could do. You could just, you know, randomize a number. Google can do that for you. Do not use AI for it. Google can do that for you. If you have an app such as Wearing, for example, that can randomize outfits for you. I know that Index, you can buy lookbooks or like hire someone to style you. That costs money. The app itself is free. I think Index may also have a randomizing outfit randomizer type thing. I'm not entirely sure. I know that Wearing does. Or put your items or something on one of those spinny wheels, which you can also do on Google, and just randomize that way. Like spin the wheel and then it lands on your yellow t-shirt and then you have to style your yellow t-shirt. If you're into that sort of gamification of your life or your wardrobe or your style, I think that could be really fun. You could also experiment with outfit formulas. Now, I haven't filmed this video yet, but I have a video planned, which I'll hopefully link up here if things are going up in the order I hope they will be going up, in which I took one of Beep World's, Liz's videos, in which she took 8 items and made 12 different outfits, and I wanted to recreate that with things in my own wardrobe because I feel like those would be really fun. I've already planned it out in my Wearing and I really like how they look, but I haven't tried them on yet. So hopefully there's a video linked up here with that. If not, that's probably the video for next week or the week after. And it doesn't have to be those formulas. You can find any and all formulas. Look at Pinterest, Google outfit formulas, watch a YouTuber, Liz, anyone who has put together outfit formulas, or just go, what did I wear last week? Oh, I paired these items together and I really enjoyed it. Could I recreate that with the same type of item in my wardrobe if you have them, but a different color scheme or a different shape or a different something? You know, if you wore tight-fitting pants, could you wear a looser pair of pants with the same kind of outfit formula, for example? I do also think that accessories can do a lot with an outfit, and I am saying that as someone who doesn't really accessorize. I wear the same jewelry every single day. It is my wedding ring and my engagement ring. It's the pinky ring I made in Japan this spring, and it's just a simple silver necklace with a little heart on it. And then I guess you could argue that my glasses are an accessory. I need them to see. And I also only have one pair. Like, these are constantly on my face unless I'm showering or sleeping. But I want to, at least in theory, I want to be someone who accessorizes more. I have other necklaces I could wear. I could put something in my hair, which rarely ever happens. I hardly ever wear earrings. I never wear bracelets. Like, I have the resources to do so. I do have a few items that I could wear. I just never really do. And I think about it, especially like this at the end of the year or beginning of the new year. I'm like, oh, I'd like to accessorize more. And then I don't. I do, like in the winter time, I do wear a knit hat and I wear a scarf and I wear mittens. Rarely, if ever, are those a styling choice for me. They're more of a necessity, like my glasses, for example. I do have a lovely knit hat that Teresa knit me a couple years ago, which is really the only winter hat I own and use. And in the summer I do have a couple straw hats and stuff that I do wear. But again, more out of necessity to not be sunburned or blinded in the summer and in the winters to keep warm. So just fun accessorizing is something I'd like to do more of. Also belts. Belts can be really restrictive if they don't quite fit or if you pull them real tight. I don't need belts for any of my current clothes to fit me, which is nice. Just adding a belt, perhaps in a matching color, perhaps in a contrasting color, does something, and that's easy. Like, putting a belt on is not the same as like having to do a really elaborate hairdo with lots of pins in it. You hear how often I do my hair, don't you? But there we have it. Those were the ideas I wanted to share with you today, and some of which, at least, I hope to also implement next year into my wardrobe and my lifestyle, I suppose. Some of them were pretty vague, some of them were really detailed. I feel like accessorizing more was not very detailed and very clear, whereas, a limited set of clothes, like doing a 10 by 10, is kind of a limited, detailed kind of suggestion. But there are, of course, so many more things than these that you could do to your wardrobe, with your outfits, with your style, you know, in the next year and moving forward. And I would love to hear if you have any suggestions down below, both for me to learn from and get ideas from and inspiration from, but also for other potential commenters to get more ideas than the ones I gave you in this video. With all that being said, thank you so much for watching. I'll be back with another video soon, so I hope to see you then. Bye!